Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and today we are going to talk about variables using scripts in Postman. So let's get started. For this particular video we are going to use our API request response.in, the fake API, and we'll take the first request. So let me take the first request. I already have a fresh collection and a request added here, so I'll just place this request and click on send to validate it is working fine. So it is working fine. Now one thing I just want to show that I've created a new collection, so there is no environment variable or global variable here. Similar thing in collection, we shouldn't be having any variable, so there is no variable here. We'll get started with this. So we are going to discuss specifically about this test section and what are the different snippets given here regarding variable. We are going to discuss all those things. So first thing is we can set or create variables using scripts. Okay, so you can write JavaScript command here, but you can use snippet as well. So since the snippets are available, we are going to use that. So first we are going to create the variables. So here you'll see set an environment variable, set a global variable, set a collection variable. Okay, so we are going to discuss about all these three one by one. Here you can comment out using double forward slash, and first thing is we are going to discuss about how to create an environment variable. For that you need to have an environment, so I already have an environment created. I'm going to use that. Now here PM stands for postman, then dot environment dot set, and then whatever variable value you want to give, like whatever the key you want to give. So here I am going to give environment var, and I'll give environment value as the value here, environment value. Okay, now here if you'll see there is no environment variable here, but as soon as I run this particular request, it is going to create this variable. So our variable is created with the value what we have given. Now this is how we have created the environment variable using scripts. Now we are going to talk about global variable. So same thing here, pm.globals.set, and here we mention, I'll just write glovar, and here I'll write global value. Now this is going to create a global variable, so I'll click on send, and now you'll notice here we have a variable created in global section, glovar, and the value what we have set here. Now we are going to discuss about how to create a variable at collection level. So pm.collection variables is the command, pm.collection variables dot set, and I'll just write colvar, and I'll just write collection value here, collection value. Okay, now I'll click on send, and this is going to create a variable at collection level. So in order to validate that, I'll go to my collection and I'll click on variables, and here you are able to see it is created accordingly. Okay, so this is how we create variables using scripts. Okay, now there is one another way also we can create a variable. We are going to discuss about that later, like within a few minutes. Now we are going to discuss about how to fetch the value. Okay, so here if you'll see we have four different things: get an environment variable, get a global variable, get a collection variable, and get a variable. We are going to discuss about get a variable later. So let me first pull all these three, and what this get statement is doing here, it is fetching the value. So whatever variable we have created, we are going to use those variables here. So I'll just put the name env var. Now in case of globals we have said glovar, so I'm going to put that name glovar. In case of collection variables, I'll put colvar. Now since we are just fetching the information, we won't be, and we are not performing any action, so we won't be able to validate that what actually the data is being fetched here. In order to display that data, we can take use of console here, and we can write our command. So for displaying anything in JavaScript, we write console dot log, and whatever you want inside that. So I'm going to use that command directly here. So I'll just copy this, I'll put it here, and I'll put a double quotes here. So starting bracket, end bracket. Now same thing, I'll put it here. console.log. Same thing I'll put here. And I will delete this. Now, this is a way to fetch the information at different levels: environment level, global level, and collection level. So let me, you can click on the console from here, or you can click from the top as well. I'll click clear here, and we will send this request, and it should be able to fetch these three values. So if I click on send here, you're able to see that we are able to successfully fetch the environment value, global value, or collection value. So this is how you fetch these three values. Okay, now we talked about creating variables, we talked about fetching variables. Now there's another thing here in the snippets. If you'll see, we can unset the value. So this is clear the value. So clear is actually removing that particular variable. Okay, so removing variables is what we are going to discuss now. So we are going to take a use of snippets. So clear an environment variable, clear a global variable, clear a collection variable. Okay, now let me move this here. Now these are the three variables which we have created. So that's why we only need to set the key here. So in case of environment, env var; in case of global, var; in case of collection, col var. Okay, now here we have seen that these values are already created. Now if I run this particular command, pm.environment.unset, and similarly for global and collection value, this is going to remove these. So if I click on send, now if I go to this particular section, you see there is no variable here. So it has cleared the variables, it has deleted the variables. Okay, now if I come here, I can validate the collection level as well. My variable is gone. Okay, so that's how you can remove the variables. Let me comment this out. So we have discussed about all the snippets regarding variables. There is one more snippet here which we have not discussed, which is setting a getting a variable. Okay, so at least in my Postman version, I did not able to see that there is a uh, creating a variable section snippet is there. Okay, but you can write it. So let me just put this in this particular section, because we are just fetching with this. So you can write pm dot variables dot set. Okay, now again this is going to have two values. One is your key and one is whatever the value you want to give by following by a comma. Okay, so what are variables? Okay, when you see the scope, when you will create any variable, set a variable, like if you're trying to set a variable here, you'll be able to see these three particular scopes: global scope, active like environment scope, and collection scope. Now there is one more scope which is called as local scope. Okay, so you can create local variable here by using this particular command. What happens here is, it is going to create a local value, and it is going to be used when you are running this particular request, and as soon as this run is completed, that value will not be that variable won't exist. It is just used for that particular run. Okay, now using this particular variable, you can fetch value at other levels as well. So using this particular command, you can fetch the value at environment level, global level. We are going to discuss about this is a little bit tricky here, so try to focus here. So first thing is, if we are trying to set a variable, okay, let me just write a name as local value, and here I'll just write local value. Okay, now here I'll write loc val, and I'll just put console.log, so we are able to see this. Okay, I will open console and let me clear this, and we should be able to see local value here. So local value is getting printed. Okay, now what happens is, the use case for using local value is one of the use cases is, let's say we want to fetch a value at environment variable level at a particular value is set, but we want to change for a particular request to a different value. Now in that particular case, it would be difficult, or I need to create a new variable, right? So in those type of cases, we can change the particular value for one particular execution. Let me show you how we can do that. So these variables were deleted because we ran the unset command, so I'll just run these once more to create these. So I'll click on send. Now all my variables are created. Now what I'll try to do here is, let me uncomment this. Okay, now in case of pm.variables.set, and here we'll use this command as well. So pm.variables.set, you can call any value. So let's call, instead of this, let's understand when we are trying to fetch. Okay, so console.log pm, here we can write env var. Okay, so what this is going to do, this is going to get, that means it is going to fetch that particular value. And what is the value of environment variable? That is env value. Okay, so let me open console and let me clear this and let me run this. So see, it is taking environment value, but let's say the use case which I have discussed before, if I want to change this value, so I'll use this particular set command and I'll use the same variable name here. I'll write environment var and we'll give the same value, whatever value was here. And let me save this and go to console and just clear the console. So now what is going to happen is, at the environment level, the value is environment value, but the local value takes the highest precedence when it deals with fetching the data. So whatever local value is set, that is going to take the highest precedence. So in this particular case, once this execution comes to test, it is going to change this particular value, this particular variable value to local value, and then it is going to fetch that particular information. So now if I click on send request, it is fetching local value instead of its value what is set as environment value. But if I remove this and just fetch that environment variable, now if I again run this, it is going to fetch environment value. So that's how the local value scope gets changed and it gets updated. Now similar thing you can apply for other levels as well: environment level, global level, collection level, or local level. So this particular video covered about how to set the variable, how to get the variable, how to fetch the information or create the variable on all the snippets. Next in the next video we are going to discuss how do we fetch the information from one previous request and use it in another request. Thank you very much. Let me know if you have any feedback, and have a great day. Bye bye.